African music has been revolutionized all over the world. In the 70s, the originality of Afrobeat has developed by the late Fela Anikulapo Kuti and carried on by his son, Seun, is what we at Messengers today are about to show you. Nyase, we say, welcome to Messengers, a show that introduces you to African arts and artists all over the world. I'm your host, OYIZA, and what a pleasure to be coming to you from the legendary Kalakuta Republic, the home of the late Fela Anikulapo Kuti. And we're here to witness and see his son, Seun, carry on the music, popular music called Afrobeat. Stay with us.
In the economic sphere, the well-conceived and well-intentioned privatization program.
President Obasanjo.
So how have you been?
I've been okay, you know, been doing a lot of work, you know, trying to push things forward, you know, because for me right now, it's 2009 is a very interesting year for me. So, as in this the year actually benefits of all the work I've been doing last year for my album, you know, I say.
Okay.
Because me and my band, we've done so much now, we have like a proper fan base internationally, and this year we're doing a world tour. Africa was the last continent the CD was released in. That's ironical, being that the CD is about Africa.
It's about here, right?
You know, it's hard to get people to want to identify themselves with the struggle, you know.
Speaking of your international presence, you're doing so much these days, especially outside the country. You're doing so many tours. The first time I met you was when you came to New York at SOB's, and that was your first US outing.
2 years ago.
Yes, that was 2 years ago. And what has happened since then?
Well, we've done another US tour last year. This time we played in Central Park at the summer stage in New York.
Fantastic.
Not at SOB, you know. So.
SOB was cramped for you.
Yeah, but you know, SOB was nice because SOB is somewhere that everybody plays at, you know. Everybody, Jay-Z, Angie Stone, Ray Charles, everybody was there. James Brown, my father played there. The thing about the world is, you know, when you go around the world a lot, you begin to see similarities, you know, and when you begin to see similarities, everything becomes equally special in its own special way. You know, like when I went to Zagreb, I didn't, because you know Zagreb, somewhere that is in East Europe, you don't believe that it's going to be so open. You hear a lot about Scandinavia, so actually from my experience, I've realized that you cannot judge a place until you have actually been there and see how that place relates to you. My album just came out in Nigeria and the reaction has been nice, man. And being that I printed all the CDs myself, released the CD myself, I know how many I've sold, and you know, so I know.
So you're keeping tabs of the numbers?
Yeah,
huh?
we're keeping tabs of the number. My manager is very nombastical. If I can, you know, I form my own words.
Nombastical, that's new.
Who gives about English? Nombastical.
Okay.
Write that down. Mixing business and music is good if you're in music for making money, but it's not good if you're in music for creativity, because you know business suppresses your creativity. You know, so I believe I try to make sure that whoever I work with, I trust them. My international manager, you know, who is in charge of my larger business, you know, I trust him with everything, you know, because I try to concentrate on my music and not do numbers. You know, I don't want to I don't want to risk my creativity. You know, it means too much to me.
To Cotonou, you're going to Burkina Faso, you're doing the whole Kinshasa, you're doing the whole of Africa.
Yeah,
that's
but
great.
It's so stressful because most of it has to be done by air. I don't like it. As soon as it takes off, I start sweating in my palms.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Well, I'm not hysterical about it.
Yeah.
It
gets to you.
You know, I don't like when I'm not in control. You know?
But tell me about your Lagos. How you see Lagos?
Well, for me, Lagos is very interesting in terms of being unique. But the mistake we make is that we think Lagos is unique. It's so different from everywhere else. I don't think Lagos is any different from any third world country I've been to. You know, the only thing different about Lagos is that it is the most culturally diverse. You know, in terms of the way people think, our religion, not only our culture. You know, then there's the Omonile factor where people believe that okay, because I'm from Lagos, I have rights in Lagos when people that are not from Lagos. It's only in Lagos that happens.
Right.
You know, you don't see anybody saying because I'm British. You know, they feel British in their country, but they will not think they have more right to do anything than you because you know.
A lot of people compare you to your dad. How does that make you feel?
It's something that will be happening since my dad died and I took over the band when I was 15. You know, as a 15-year-old, people were already comparing me to my dad. You know, I was like, these people must be stupid because you know. So it's something that, you know, luckily for me, that they started it so early, it's gotten me used to it. And, you know, it's something that put me through a lot of thinking. And I've come to realize positively that I don't expect them to compare me to Sunny Ade or Bob Marley. I'm Fela's son. So if they compare me to Fela, maybe they are doing the right thing to a certain extent.
Right.
You know, for me, it's part of who I am. But I cannot let that be my it can't be my whole personality. It can only be a part of me that I accept. I believe that human beings is religion and control that makes people think that there's a guideline to being a human being.
Right.
That people are supposed to be good or people are supposed to be bad. I think human beings are human beings. If we understand the true idea of nature, we realize that human beings will do what human beings will do.
Right.
And that has been doing for thousands of years, irrespective of whatever anybody thinks, says, you know. So I've come to believe that really. So for me, what I do and what people know about me and what they don't know, if you know about it, then you're supposed to know. If you don't know about it, you're not supposed to know. It doesn't take anything away from how I'm going to my reaction to the next event that happens to me in my life, you know.
Hey, brothers and sisters, this is Baba Ani. You are watching Messengers. Keep watching. Keep watching.
living with my dad and doing things with him generally, you realize that you know, you don't realize his stardom, you know, of how big he is, because I see him every day in the house. You know, as a kid in primary school, I go to school, oh, Fela son, and I'm like, to me, you know, and really, it's because of the way he also carried himself, you know, to people that were close to him. My dad didn't have that superstar. His ego was not in his stardom. His ego was more in his spirituality. That's where he believed he was superior to everybody.
What is most misconstrued about Fela? What part of him didn't we understand as outsiders?
Well, I mean, people thought he was aggressive. My dad was not aggressive at all. My dad was a very docile, well, to a certain extent, to a morally acceptable extent, he was docile. You know, and people always forget that, you know, it was the government that came to attack him. He didn't have troubles, our military. He just had music, and he used the music to talk to look for change in the way his people were treated and the life his people lived. Maybe what most people know that I really hate to be cheated. No matter how small, how irrelevant.
So you appreciate honesty?
Very much,
okay.
Very much. Notwithstanding, I am not as honest as I want to be. But it is hard to be honest in this world filled with so many dishonest people. You know, no matter how much you try to get out, they just drag you back into the dishonesty. But I'm looking for the time I'm going to be able to really speak my mind and say what I want to say to anybody, irrespective of anything. I didn't work to get the band just because after my father's death, the family didn't want the band to keep going on. Everybody said, you know, Fela is dead, the band is irrelevant, you know. But growing up with my dad used to always say his band was the most important thing. So I was just surprised to find out that suddenly, because he was dead, people said the band was no longer important. So after the meeting, you know, I used to talk in a meeting of senior people in Africa.
Just shut up.
Summoned up the courage and I stood up and I spoke on behalf of the band and I said, what if I keep playing with them? He said, well, it's not our problem. You can keep playing with the band and keep whatever you make. Voila. I've been playing with the band since I was 8. You know, I've been opening the show for my dad at the shrine. You know, most people today are Fela fans. They've never been to the shrine. You know, they never even saw Fela perform live.
If you were not a musician, you didn't take after him, what would you do? What would you
that
do?
one, without thinking, football. I think I'll be sitting out here when somebody is breaking.
I was expecting you to say, oh, I'll be suited and booted and I'll be in a bank or something.
I don't want to be a blazer.
And we're still up here on the rooftop of the Kalakuta Republic talking to Seun Kuti, the one and only. He's got a lot of views on a lot of issues.
Well, you know, you can't grow up in Nigeria properly without having views.
Absolutely. And we'll be right back.
My name is Lekon Animashao. My stage name is Baba Ani. I started with the band as Fela Kuti of the Kalakuta. That was exactly 1965, January.
Wow.
1965.
It's a long time.
You know, he just came back from London then. He was sort of singing love song, Ololufe, Ayawani, Eshelofe, you know, songs like that.
Right.
And then we went to the first tour of the US. That was June 1969. We stayed there in the US for 9 months. By the time we came back from the first tour of the US, Fela was sort of revolutionized. And through his girlfriend then, Sandra Daniel, now Sandra Isidore, he was introduced to some members of the Black Panther then. And he saw the lives of our people. So when he came back, he was sort of revolutionized and he stopped singing about love songs. But then his thinking then was that you can't make sweet love if there is no money. Because he was anti-establishment, because the establishment was no establishment in the first way, just a gang of vagabonds stealing people's money. So a lot of people started moving back from the band. You know, when we were having 3,000, 2,000 and above number of people at our shows, the number started dwindling. Not only that, recording companies were so afraid, they didn't want to release Fela. Fela, before he left, in his last days, he was already showing the sign that this boy will be his immediate successor. Because whenever I wanted to introduce him for a show at that time, he would ask me, has Seun performed? If the answer is negative, he would say, Baba Ani, let him do one song. So he started grooming. So by the time he eventually left physically, the boy was already, you know, coming up.
Okay.
Now talking about comparing the two,
Right.
You can't find two Felas.
No, you can't.
there can never be another Fela.
I saw you guys travel out, you do a lot of shows. How has the international reception been?
Europe, America is our second home. The
Very
reception
much
has
so.
been very, very wonderful.
I think
We
yeah.
love those people. We love you all.
What is amazing is that there are a lot of younger
Elements.
yes. So does that work for you? I mean, what are they bringing to the table as far as the music is concerned?
Well, they bring the steam, the energy. We supply the experience.
To me, Afrobeat is a movement, you know, not just music. It's not just like a genre of music, you know, because Afrobeat was not created for